Gail and Randy's wedding, was there. Maybe not. But one of the things about Randy when I first met him is he would talk so fast in a southern drawl, I would have no idea what he's saying to me. Look at him, and I'd look at him, and I'd think, I don't know what you said. So, I remember being in the apartment, and he was just chattering away about blah, 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 blah. And I looked at him and I said, you have to really slow that down or learn to speak Northern, because I just think you said something about having an abortion. And we laughed and laughed and laughed, because you could never understand his Southern drawl. And, always loved the Lord and always good that way, but you made you smile just trying to figure out what he's saying. Kind of like hard of hearing people do. They just look at you. And I'd look at him and go, no idea what he said.
Smile and nod.
Yep, there he was. But he came out to the farm. We live out by Tama. And him and Gail came out, and we had just wonderful fellowship together where we talked about the Lord, and we talked about what he's doing, and he's gone so many different places and done so much, but his worldview was that of being an evangelist, of telling people about Jesus. And man, it convicts you so much that I should be doing something very different in my outspokenness with the world that I've been given. I'm glad that he was God's representative everywhere he went. He didn't become a very different person once he checked into a motel somewhere. He was always God's man. God's got a great guy up in heaven. I'm sure they're having some great Southern stories right about now. Miss him, but I'm so happy for him. I'm elated that he's up there with Jesus. His faith has become sight, and he now knows him face to face.
Silas, Anna was real little, and she used to like to pet our dogs through the fence. She treated him great, and he never liked the snow. He always appreciated when I took my snowblower, did his sidewalk for him, and he was a great guy. He always wanted to go to Myrtle Beach with us to vacation because he thought it'd be like going home or something.
I remember him coming a few times at our church at the Cowboy Church. When Pastor Carroll was gone out of town, he would come and fill in for him, and so I enjoyed him when he was there. But it's been a few times, and he has been gone for quite a while. Mm-hmm. Randy had on his work trips and stuff. So, but other than that, he was enjoyable.
I remember the first time I met Randy, that Southern accent. I swore he had to have been a NASCAR race car driver. That accent, and every time I talked to him after that, that accent just reminded me of those race car drivers.
I think the greatest thing that happened to our church is when he came to our church. Because he was a man, and he still is in heaven. He's a man of wisdom. And he's a man that loved God. If I've ever known a man that wanted to be more like the Lord, it would be Randy. He had a sweet spirit about him, and you just had to be around him to understand him. That Southern drawl would just draw you in when he was talking to you, and telling me about stories of his mother and father, and in North Carolina or South Carolina, I believe, that Randy came out of, and telling me stories about his family, what they did. I have a lot of memories. I have a lot of good memories with Randy. He was a true friend, and he's going to be missed. He was loved by many, but he's in heaven, and he's rejoicing right now, so I'm thankful for that.
Randy was quite the card. He had plenty of jokes, but I didn't always understand the jokes because I couldn't understand him. Not that I didn't get the jokes, but he was a good guy. I miss him a lot. And we played games with Randy. Aggravation, Uno, Skippo. He just never quite got it. So you know you could always beat him in a game.
Randy and Gail were just great friends that we met through River of Life, so I don't cry. But we would have them over and they'd play cards with us and stuff like that. And Anna was little. But anyway, one of the sweetest things was Gail saw an email where we just were really tight, didn't have much money, and she called me and offered their vehicle and gave us a vehicle, put new tires on it. So sweet, like such a giving couple, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to say I'm very
That's
thankful
awesome.
for them and their friendship.
20 some years ago, Randy and we decided that I was going to drywall my basement, and I needed help on the roof, on the ceiling part, because once I get that part, then I can do the rest. And my son and I were going to do all the work, but I just needed Randy's help at first, you know. And he helped with getting the edging to be able to screw into boards and stuff, and he did a great job, got us going, and I've broken both my shoulders twice racing. I'll race bikes and stuff, and so I couldn't hold things up very good, and I just started shaking because just my shoulders get strained, and he's like, "This is a lot of work, isn't it?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "What do you think about drywall?" And I said, "You know, drywall I think rhymes with I didn't finish high school." And I was just joking, and he laughed so hard he about fell off the ladder. And then like 5 years later, I saw him again, we were chatting, and he said, "I've told that story like 100 times. He goes, "It's so funny." And I didn't mean in disrespect or anything like that. I was just like, it was a lot of work. I mean, he came over 3 times a week for like, probably 3 or 4 times just to get the ceiling part done, and he did help with part of the walls, and then my son and I finished it, but it was a lot of work. So.
When we were younger, like, I don't even know how old, like 12 maybe. But like, he had just gotten back from maybe Louisiana, somewhere down south, and he brought like a ton of like oysters and like alligator meat, and it was just like fresh oysters, and he was just like shucking them in the living room. He was like made us slurp fresh oysters out of the shell, and it was just like to a 12-year-old, slimy oysters. It was so gross, but it was kind of funny because it was so exotic. It just felt like we don't travel.
Mm-hmm.